The opinions voiced in this podcast are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which strategies or investments may be suitable for you, consult the appropriate qualified professional prior to making a decision.
Welcome to How to Money with Cole and Cole.
I'm Cole.
And I'm Cole.
We coach people every day on their money and how to plan for the future.
As financial advisors, we're here to have an honest conversation on investing, retirement, and everything in between.
At Full Swing Financial Planning, we're here to empower you to take control of your plan, your way, for your financial future.
So let's talk money.
And sports.
Welcome back to How to Money with Cole and Cole. I am here with one Cole again.
Yeah, I know. We're taking weeks off, apparently.
I got Cole Peterson this time. So
I'm ready to roll.
One Cole's enough for today.
Probably enough every day.
Yes. Because we have a special guest, Jordyn Harman. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Owner and operator of Med Spa Express in Pocahontas, Iowa. But we'll get into that. We'll do a little sports quick.
Yeah, let's do that.
Chiefs 8-0.
Oh my gosh, I knew that was coming.
Chiefs 8-0.
Chiefs are 8-0.
Hey, looks good for my predictions.
I think the best team in the AFC is the Ravens, but we'll see.
Yeah. Cowboys.
Cowboys stink. They're done for. Yeah, they're done for.
How's the Broncos?
They're mediocre, just like kind of like I thought they might be. Actually their quarterback's better than I thought. Yeah. Bo Nix. So they're 5-4. Whatever.
Yeah. Football season will continue.
Yeah, but the Hawkeyes got to get a big game, and I know that Jordan's a big Hawkeye fan. At UCLA on Friday night.
Isn't that crazy, them flying to California?
You said your parents are out there?
My parents and my sister right now.
Oh, wow.
If I wasn't ready to pop, I would also be there. But
yeah,
turns out I'm not trying to deliver on an airplane.
Oh, my gosh. That'd be awful.
For all of you not on our YouTube channel, Jordyn is due...
Any day.
Literally, yeah.
Oh, okay.
She's a rock star.
So Peter, our producer over here, has delivered several babies in his life. So
that would get so many views.
Oh my gosh! Okay,
we are not going to do that.
No, refocus.
Refocus.
All right, Cole doesn't care because the Cubs obviously didn't make the World Series.
No, but the Dodgers won. 4-1, right? Yeah, I think it was pretty much utter domination by the Dodgers. The Yankees didn't hit the ball, and so I didn't watch a ton of it, but congratulations to our Dodger fans out there.
Yeah, and the greatest sport upon us is starting
basketball. Yes,
let's go.
The NBA is in full swing. The college is just getting started.
Yep.
Audie Crooks had a pretty good first game. Yeah. The Drake women came back. They were down 10 at half and won. My wife was excited about that. Go Bulldogs.
Oh yeah, Molly could represent.
Well, she was a Bulldog.
No, that's what I'm saying. You block your shot. Anyways.
That's not what we're talking about.
It's what I'm thinking about. Okay, let's get into it, though, unless you have any more sports.
Well, Jordyn, are you excited about the Hawkeye basketball teams this year? Or do you follow basketball as much as you do football?
Obviously, when Caitlin Clark played, that's when I really started following per like half the country, right? But yeah, definitely always been very into football, but yes, more recently basketball.
Yeah, I think that the men are ranked. They're supposed to be pretty good. The women, I don't know if the women are ranked.
Nope.
They're not?
Yeah. I mean, they lost a lot.
Yeah.
They'll be pretty
correct.
good.
They're going to have to
show to prove themselves. So
yes.
Yeah. They also looked good the other day. So let's get into it. So Jordyn Harman is a certified family nurse practitioner, a master of injector. Is that what your title is? Master injector?
No, I would never give myself that
I think she's a master injector. And she's the owner operator of Med Spa Express. So maybe you've been in the medical field since 2013 and this started in 2019. Maybe give the listeners what is Med Spa Express.
So we are a comprehensive medical spa and wellness practice. Originally in 2019, I started out mainly just aesthetics, fillers, talks, those kinds of things. Started dabbling into like some devices and then started doing wellness where we're doing like hormones and weight loss and thyroid optimization, all of that kind of stuff. So we truly are a one-stop shop because I am in Pocahontas. I'm in the middle of nowhere. So like if people are driving, I mean, my furthest patient comes from Minneapolis.
Oh, wow.
I have a handful that come from like the Des Moines area. We have a ton of patients from Fort Dodge, over 500 people from Fort Dodge coming to us.
Nice.
And then obviously somewhere within a 30 to 40 mile radius are generally the rest of them. So when they drive to us, I need to make it worth their while, right? So Botox takes about 2 minutes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, quick.
So is it more of an experience when
Correct.
it's more of a med spa experience when they walk in?
We very much focus on the entire patient experience. And actually we'll probably get into it later, but we're in the process of starting in April. We'll be building a new building.
I knew that.
In Pocahontas, though.
Yes.
Much bigger?
5,000 square feet.
Woo, let's go.
Wow. Congratulations. That's
Thank you.
exciting.
So you're expanding, you're growing.
Yeah.
So what initially got you interested in this field? Like, you're a nurse practitioner, like what made you start messing with injection and thinking, oh, I kind of like this field. I kind of maybe do this on my own.
Sure. So my first job out at NP school was at Mayo Clinic. So I worked there for a year and a half. And while I was there, one of the girls I went to school with was like, hey, there's a CME on Botox and filler. Like, we should take that. That'd be fun. And I'm like, okay. It happened to be in Des Moines. I'm like, all right, in my backyard, let's go. I was there, and the instructor was like, hey, you're like really good at this. And I was like, I am? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, cool. And I'm like, well, this is fun. Like, it doesn't feel like I'm working. I like hands-on. So after that, I took 6 more trainings and then decided to open up my business. And originally, I just started it to pay off my student loans faster, honestly.
Let's go.
So it was more of a side business when it started?
1,000%. I had no
I did not know
idea that.
Were you doing it out of like your house or?
My parents. So my mom's a cosmetologist.
Okay.
So, and then my sister is a massage therapist and an esthetician. So like.
You fell in line.
Yeah. Right. So we're very big into the beauty industry. But yeah, so my sister had a room, and whenever she wasn't using it, I would just use her room, and yeah.
Okay, so you started kind of as a side business, and then how did it, because all entrepreneurs take that leap of faith, right? That
Sure.
you're like, I'm pretty sure this is going to work, but I'm not sure. You don't know.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about maybe how the conversation was with your husband, and then also, because I know that that's always a conversation with the significant other,
Yep.
and then how that evolved.
So actually I was pregnant with my first child in 2020 during COVID. And I know a lot of people's business suffered during COVID. Mine happened to like blow up, which obviously was a little odd because I had to be closed for a while. So pregnant with my son, in 2020, in the midst of COVID, and my OB's like, hey, we don't really know what this is going to do. I don't need you like having your hands in people's mouth doing lip filler, like being that close in proximity. So like I would prefer that you just like don't do that for a while. And then obviously we got mandated to shut down for a little while as well. So I'm like, yep, that's perfectly fine. So closed for several months.
And you were still nursing at this point?
Yep. I was working full-time family medicine actually in Emmitsburg.
Okay.
So I worked there for almost 3 years full-time. And then while I was pregnant, had my baby, was on maternity leave. I was supposed to go back to family medicine in December after my 12-week leave. And so I went back in my med spa in November. And in that month, I had 50 new patients. And I'm like, holy crap.
And this was word of mouth or
all word of mouth.
Wow.
I didn't start advertising until I was in my new building, which would have been in 22.
Oh, wow. So you are a master. Good word of mouth there. See?
I treat Susie, and then Susie likes it, and then she tells her mom and her aunt and her cousin, and then they're all in my office.
And now you're building a new building.
Yeah.
So you've now, when did you actually make the decision to leave nursing practitioner at Emmitsburg and go full time?
Sure. So after I went back and obviously had this influx of patients, then I ended up going to a conference with one of my friends who's been in the industry for like 15 years. And she's like, you're still doing family medicine full time? And I'm like, yeah, I'm scared. I'm like, I have this baby. Like, I have a guaranteed
security
income. I have benefits. Like, what does that look like? I mean, like, I carried the benefits for my family. So it's like, that's really scary. And she's like, your numbers don't lie. I know you're not good at numbers. And I'm like, yep. But she's like, your numbers don't lie. Like, you're losing money by not doing this. Okay. She's like, you just gotta go all in.
Leap of faith.
So I'm like, okay. So I came back, talked to my husband, and he was like, okay, like if you really think so. Like he was very skeptical at first. And then I met with a couple device companies and I'm like, yeah, I'm buying these pieces of equipment. And he was like, they're how much? And I was like, we won't talk about
They're a lot of money.
Literally the prices of nice houses.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I bought my first 2 devices together because obviously if you buy 2, you get a deal, you know?
Yeah. What were the first 2?
They weren't BOGO.
No. If only, right? My first device was a SkinWave hydrofacial machine, right? Very popular, can do it on everyone. And then an RF microneedling device. So same thing, very popular, can do it on anyone, Fitzpatrick 1 through 4, and really can benefit every human, right? And so that was my thought process starting out is I'm not going to buy a laser because it sits shut off part of the year because you can't do it in the sun. And I need something I can do on everyone, on every single one of my patients. I also, like for people starting out, I definitely would not purchase equipment unless you have an established patient panel. I would never.
Right.
I have people
You need someone to give the equipment, use it on, retain what you paid.
Exactly. I have people message me from all over the country all the time that are like, how did you like do so well with this device? And I'm like, what's your patient panel size? And they're like, oh, I have like 30 people. I'm like, no. So I had over 150 regular patients before I ever purchased any equipment.
So you let the business grow before you try to like grow the
1,000%. And then I went part-time.
You went part-time at the, so you didn't do the leap.
No, I went part-time for, I think it was a month or 2.
Sure.
And then that's when I saw the writing on the wall and I'm like, I have to be done.
Yeah.
Like I can't.
That's great. So you did finally take the leap of faith. So now to tell the listeners, like, what does your team consist of? Like where are you at now from there? Because you started with 2 machines. I know you have a team now and I'm sure you have way more.
Yeah. So we have 9 devices, which is why we need a bigger facility because we have 4 treatment rooms. So you can imagine how crammed we are.
Yes.
And now there are myself, I have a front desk staff, Savannah, Megan, she's an esthetician and also does the front desk. My sister, who's a massage therapist and esthetician, and then Betsy, who's another nurse practitioner. So there's a whole team of us now.
So how did that grow? Like, how did the team start go? Because it was just you, correct?
So it was me when I moved into my new building that my husband fully renovated. He does construction, so that's a nice
That was helpful.
perk. Yeah.
Sure.
And then I stole my sister when I started that. And I'm like, hey, look, like you already do massages, you already do facials. Like, why don't we join forces and like, let's do this together? And she was like, sure. Okay. So did that. She also was a dental assistant. So she left the dental office to do that with me. Built my schedule up. And then obviously my clients, it's very easy to just be like, hey, we also have this. And they all just like slid over to her organically. So I didn't really need to do advertising at that point because like to fill our schedules was very simple. Well, then I found out I was pregnant with my second child. Surprise. And I'm like, whoa, not expecting that. And also, how am I going to have a maternity leave? How am I going to leave to have this child?
Who's going to spill all these patients?
Who's going to do this? Because obviously she can't inject. Yeah. So I'm like, oh boy. So that's when I was like, all right, I need to start hiring people. And literally,
it's just organically.
Yeah. I was very skeptical about advertising a position because you get all kinds of kinds. And I'm like, gosh, I just don't know if I should do that. And I did. And I mean, like Betsy messaged me and she was a nurse at the time and I was hiring for actually a nurse practitioner. And she's like, I'm in NP school, but like, can I apply? And I'm like, yeah, like whatever, perfectly fine. And so, I mean, not HIPAA because she'll tell everyone this, but like she actually was my patient first.
She told me that. Yeah. I knew that. She was like, listen, I want to do what you're doing.
Yeah. And she's like, okay, well, like I already met you and your sister and like I knew you were cool. Like I knew we got along good. And then I saw the opening and I'm like,
and she has the right personality. So you weren't just trying to hire anyone. You were trying to hire the right people.
I will never try to hire just a warm body ever.
Yes.
Ever.
Yeah. I think that's very important for entrepreneurs.
I will hire off of personality every time. I can teach people anything. I train. I mean, I can teach you anything if you're willing to learn, But like, you can't teach someone personality. You can't. You either have it or you don't.
And I definitely feel like it's an industry where it's, I'm not going to say intimidating, but like if I came in, I would want someone with personality to make me feel comfortable. Like it's a different world.
100%. I mean, like, yes, we're very professional, but like, we're very laid back. Botox takes me 2 minutes. I schedule my appointments for 30 minutes. Like, I know everyone's life story. And when they come in, I'm like, hey, how was your vacation? What'd you guys do? Did you go on any excursions? Like, oh, how's your grandkid? You know, like, I know these people like the back of my hand.
You're like their therapist. We get it.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, you can get therapy at your Botox appointment, but you can't get Botox at your therapy appointment.
There you go.
It's a tagline.
So the main business is in Pocahontas, Iowa.
Yeah.
And are there not expectations, but are there thoughts of expanding possibly to outside of Pocahontas? I mean, Pocahontas, and it sounds like you had a great business. I'm wondering, like, what does the future hold for your med spa? Are you thinking that far ahead, or are you just trying to have a baby?
Well, funny story.
do it all.
Prior to finding out about this, I was actually in the process of signing a lease here.
In Fort Dodge?
Yep, we were planning on expanding here. And then I found out I was pregnant, and I'm like, yeah, that's not going to work.
Yeah, with your third.
Yeah, so I'm like, I can't add that onto my plate. And Betsy's great, but she doesn't have a ton of experience yet, as a provider in this industry. And so she's like, yeah, like, I just think this happened for a reason. I don't know if I'd feel comfortable like being there by myself without you to like bounce ideas off of and help. And so I'm a big believer in fate, and everything happens for a reason. And like, this redirected us to, it's like, hey, we're not gonna branch out that way, but like, we are going to make Pocahontas the premier destination for people to come to, and like, that's where the building comes in.
I was just gonna say, because you said you have people driving from Des Moines, which obviously there's tons of spas in Des Moines, so I was gonna ask that, I was like, how are you getting people to naturally grow and come to Pocahontas, do you think, or what sets you apart?
So I've always told my staff, like, the philosophy that I've always followed is treat the patients and the money will come. I've never made anything in my business about the money. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of those franchises, a lot of those bigger businesses, they do. It's all about how many people can you crank in and out, and how much can you produce an hour, which is fine and dandy. But like, these people are spending a lot of money. Yes. And like, they should be getting a quality service and a quality experience. And like, I can guarantee that for all of my patients every time they come in.
Yes. So that's why you think you're naturally organic. Because I mean, if you know Iowa, Pocahontas isn't like a premier destination. No. Like, there's not much going on to
1,800 people.
Yeah. It's not like a Des Moines where you could go down for the day, do lunch, do a day.
No.
So, yeah.
I mean, the closest city to us is Fort Dodge, and it's what, 20,000?
Yeah.
I mean.
Okay. So Pocahontas, maybe not the destination town. We're going to expand to Fort Dodge, but so that might be in the future. That might be something, or is the new building kind of the future and you're going to stay in Pocahontas? Or you don't have to commit, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, I'll never say never, because every time I do,
you get pregnant.
Honestly, yeah.
I've been down this
1,000%. Yep. But my idea is like, I'm putting everything into this building. I mean, like, it will be unlike anything around here. I mean, if you want everything that we're going to offer, even now, you'd have to go to Des Moines to get it. I mean, there's no one around me that offers, we have over 25 different services, I think. And it's probably even more than that. And this building, I plan on adding even more things, and more experiences in regards to like red light therapy and salt room and cold plunge. And I mean, like,
you're going down the right path.
Yeah. I mean, like, we literally are a one-stop shop. And like, when people come, like, it's not uncommon for them to spend several hours with us.
I was just going to ask that. Is this something that you're like, in your mind, it's more like a couples come spend a weekend here, or maybe have to build a hotel next, or an airport strip for people to fly in.
My husband will kill me.
I'm going big on this thing.
I was like, airport, that's pretty big. But I think what you're really trying to do is create an experience. Same concept with any business. Like, I feel like our clients come to us for an experience. Same with you. Like, they could come for a few hours. They could get a few treatments. They don't have to go to 2 different places. But I'm interested in too, how do you decide which services you're growing on? Because I feel like this world has exploded. Like, how do you decide like, okay, this machine's worth it, or this is the path I'm gonna go down to, or is it kind of like input from the clients?
Well, I mean, yes, I care about their input, but like, the reality is like, they don't understand the science of anything, right? And so I demo, like you name a device, I've probably tried it. I mean, like I will demo everything. I will test everything. Like for instance, our SoftWave, which is like our most recent device. So we got that like probably 2 years ago now. It's like a non-invasive facelift. With that, like when the rep came, I'm like, okay, look, I've been down this road before. The quickest way to get rid of a laser salesman is to buy a laser. That's just literally how my industry works. And I'm like, you want this to be the first device in Iowa, right? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, so you're going to let me demo this on 6 of my patients.
you put your boundaries.
And I'm going to see if they get a result. If they get a result, I will buy it. If they don't, I'm not buying it. And he's like, okay.
I'm assuming
Deal.
it's not cheap.
No.
Yeah.
Again, the price is a very nice house.
Nice houses.
Yes, yeah. That's insane.
Probably more than my house, I can tell you that.
This podcast is produced by Spin Market and Digital. Located in Fort Dodge, Iowa, Spin Market's highly skilled team can help you increase your market by updating your website, improving SEO, designing advertisements, and producing podcasts that will grab the attention of your market. Contact Spin Market today for all your digital marketing needs at digitalagent@spinmarket.com or call us at 515-302-8026. And to learn more, visit our website at www.spinmarket.com. That's digitalagent@spinmarket.com or 515-302-8026. Or visit our website at www.spinmarket.com.
Let's do a little dollars and cents.
Dollar bills, y'all. All right, so our stat nerd Cole Jaskey's not here, so I'm taking this part. And obviously, we had this thing called an election the other day. I think it was on Tuesday.
Wait, we have a new president?
Yeah, well, not yet. It hasn't been sworn in yet. But, 50% of America is happy, 50% is not. We're not here to discuss politics. That's not part of our podcast. You can go to listen to Joe Rogan if you want to do that. But at the same time, there are some effects of the election and Donald Trump being elected. Most notably, the Tax Cuts Job Act, TCJA, as most people know it. Most likely, Mr. Trump will extend that. So it was supposed to sunset in the end of 2025. So most people noticed a difference, probably didn't know why, but a couple of the big things is on your taxes, you have what's called a standard deduction. And that was almost doubled in 2017 when this came through. So if you make $50,000 a year, if you're a single person, you make $50,000 a year, you actually only pay federal taxes on $35,000 of that because your standard deduction is about $15,000. I'm using round numbers. I'm not using exact numbers. Your standard deduction is $15,000. Before the TJCA was passed, your standard deduction was like $7,000. So your taxes went down with this act. And again, I'm not promoting politics. I'm just telling you what's going on. So that was supposed to sunset in 2025 and everything was to revert back to what it was before. Most likely Trump is going to extend that out however long he can get it through Congress and get that passed. But so that is a major thing. Also, the top income brackets was the 39.6% went to 37, 33 went down to 32, 28 went to 24. Again, all things that probably will get extended, most likely with Trump, so people's taxes won't go back to the old tax brackets. Am I boring everybody yet?
No.
Okay.
It's great for our listeners.
So that's the major, those are the major things with that. But the other thing that doesn't apply to a lot of people, but a lot of people were worried about, was the estate tax. So before, if you had a family estate that was worth like $5.5 million, you had to pay a special estate tax if it was anything above that. And he doubled that amount. Donald Trump in the TJCA doubled that amount to $11 million. It was supposed to revert back at the end of 2025. So anyone that had an estate over that going forward in 2026 and beyond, you were going to pay an estate tax. Now that probably will get extended as well. So
We'll see.
more like nothing's going to change, where things were going to change at the end of 2025. But again, I'm not guaranteeing this. I'm speculating that this is probably what's going to happen. So taxes will remain very similar, and the estate tax will continue to be higher than it was before. Makes sense?
Got that,
everybody?
Jordyn?
Yeah.
Got all your notes?
Way over my head.
Hey, one of those also things was a child tax credit that you get was basically doubled during that time, which I've been thankful for since I have 4 of those little rascals. But that also was going to, all this stuff was going to revert back.
We'll keep you posted.
Yeah, there were some things that weren't great about it, but most of it was good. So.
We shall see. All right, Jordyn, let's get back into it. So my question is for you. You're obviously growing this business as you're growing your family. Like, yes. I think there's obviously you're a rock star for even still going at this point. You're due any day. So what would be the biggest challenge and I know there's no such thing as balance, but how do you find a way to do it? You know what I mean? What advice would you give to an entrepreneur, maybe that's either building a family, man or woman, that they're building the family, but they're also going after a career and continuing to obviously grow their career?
It is possible. You're just going to put in a lot of hours. I mean, I tell people, when you own your own business, there is no such thing as work-life balance, because like your work becomes part of your life, right?
Yeah, it's your baby.
Yeah. It's my 4th child, apparently. So, I mean, that is the reality. When you have your own business, you're married to it, but I think I would do this again over and over and over before I would ever work for corporate medicine ever again. I would never go back to that unless I physically had to.
You're in control.
Yeah. And I would say the most important takeaway is it was really hard for me to grasp, and actually having my last child last year, that really taught me, if you want to grow your business, you can't always work in it. You have to take time to work on it.
Mm-hmm. That's a great advice.
And so I went from, seeing patients 4+ days a week to now I only see patients 3 days a week, and I do 2 admin days a week where I'm actually physically working on my business. I'm working with a business coach. I'm working with the SBDC, and like, what can I do to grow my business and make it more profitable? Which is obviously new for me because I'm a provider. I don't do...
You're like learning the business.
Yes, but I heavily rely on my accountant.
The number side of it, which I think you said you didn't really like at the beginning, but you got to be involved in that. I mean, you have to care whether it's profitable or not, and obviously you have got a great business going there. But one thing that you said earlier that we haven't touched on is that this is not just for women.
No,
this is also for men.
Absolutely.
And you have lots of men clients.
Yeah.
So tell me, as a man, and I'm under 50 right now, but probably get there
Cole's
soon.
birthday's next week.
What do the men come to you for? Like, it might be the same treatments as women,
Sure.
but tell me a little bit about that, because I don't know much about it.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously we do aesthetic treatment. So, I mean, I do have men that get Botox and things like that. Mainly people in the public eye, right?
Sorry to interrupt you.
No,
when
you're
you
good.
say aesthetics, I do not know what you're talking about.
Okay.
So when you say aesthetics, that's like...
Maybe break
An
that's maybe
umbrella.
like me saying finances. Like,
Sure. Okay.
I don't know exactly what that means. So if you could explain that to me, that would be great.
Yes. So we have essentially, like, my business, I would say, is broken into like 3 parts. We have an aesthetic side, a spa side, and a wellness side. And when we're in our new building, that's going to be very prominent that it does have those 3 components. Okay. So the aesthetic side is things like injectables, whether we're talking about Botox, filler, biorevitalization treatments, collagen induction therapy, whether we're talking about devices such as like RF microneedling or like our soft wave or laser treatments, that kind of thing. And then we have, the spa side of things, where that is like facials, lashes, brows, massage,
relaxing.
Relaxing, right? And then we have our whole wellness area where like we have our M-Sculpt Neo, which is our body contouring, which, yes, that's aesthetically pleasing as well. But like, we have a lot of people who use it for back pain or hip pain or to tighten their core, or after babies when they have diastasis recti, all of those things. And then we also have like IV therapy, bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, medicated weight loss, thyroid optimization. I mean, GI mapping, like
list goes on and on.
Literally, yeah.
Okay, so what are the main things that men come in for? Sorry, I went back to the.
No, you're good.
I interrupted you, and I felt bad about that. I'm sorry.
You're fine.
But now, what do men typically come? Is it for all that stuff?
Yeah,
or I mean,
literally, yeah.
Maybe not as many eyebrows on the men
Correct.
as women, but
Why not?
You know, the Botox and
yes,
and
Botox. I would say we have a lot of men that do the massages, obviously.
Okay.
And then a lot of them do the wellness. So whether that's the IV therapy or the hormones, you know, this is the thing about hormone therapy. Anyone who comes in that wants to do weight loss or hormones, I do 6 pages worth of labs, because if I just checked your hormones, I could treat every patient who walked in my door. That doesn't mean you're going to feel better though. Why do you not feel well? That's what I'm trying to figure out. I want to know the root cause of what's going on. So I'm checking things. I've found so many people that are diabetic and pre-diabetic that didn't know, because guess what? When you are in traditional medicine, unless you have a fasting glucose greater than 126 more than one time, your insurance isn't going to pay for an A1C, which is the trend of your sugars over the last 3 months. They're also never going to check a fasting insulin level, which will actually turn and be elevated before an A1C ever will. I mean, so I'm catching these people like pre-diabetic sometimes, where I'm like, hey,
where you can make changes.
We need to do something about this before it turns into this. Most people, very receptive to that, very much want to do that. Do I still get people who are like, I can just go get this weight loss medication from my doctor? And I'm like, that's great. Go for it. Pay $12,000 or $1,200 a month. And then you're
know what the actual problem is.
Not know what the problem is. And then you're using it as a crutch because they're not teaching you anything. We do a full like body composition scale. I'm measuring your muscle mass. I'm measuring your fat mass. I'm measuring your visceral fat, which is the fat around your organs that's going to lead to diabetes and cardiovascular disease. Mm-hmm. And so we're checking all of those things.
You're selling me, Jordyn. I'm there.
Well, it's just, there's so many people that just hand this out like candy. I mean, you meet with us monthly. And when I say us, I mean a nurse practitioner. You're meeting with a provider. I know some places that you can get it online. You can go to a med spa and you're meeting with the medical assistant who doesn't even have any
medical background.
Training really to do that. And they're dispensing a drug, which like that shouldn't even be legal.
Dangerous.
Yeah. So there's a right and a wrong way to do things, obviously. And that's anything. The state of Iowa is very gray when it comes to med spa law. Very gray. The board of nursing probably gets so annoyed with me because I'm emailing them and calling them probably on a weekly to monthly basis.
But that's great. That's what you're doing. You're advocating for your clients.
Right. I mean, and like the board of pharmacy, and they're like, we don't have jurisdiction over you. I'm like, I know, but I need to know, like, was this last FDA inspection at this pharmacy? Were there any write-ups? Like, did they pass with flying colors? Like, are they legitimate? Are they qualified to ship to the state of Iowa? Well, yeah, I don't have a health system protecting me.
Yeah.
You know, I have to do that. So it's like...
Would you say on the wellness side, the hormone therapy is the most popular, or what would you say is like the highest?
I would say right now the medicated weight loss.
Okay.
But the truth of the matter is that they very much work synergistically, right? Mm-hmm. If you have low testosterone levels, that affects your metabolism, that affects your bone health. I mean, it affects everything. It affects your mood, your sex drive, all of those things. And so they very much work synergistically together. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times people will start out with one and then they're adding the other in at some point.
So if somebody wanted to, I'm not talking about anybody in this room, but if somebody
Cole is so interested.
If somebody was interested in this, would they just set up like an initial appointment?
Yeah, what's the client experience?
Yeah,
sure.
Obviously, no, I've never been to a med spa. I've never, I'm not gonna. I've got a massage before, but that's about it.
You should go.
Let's
go as a team.
So would they just call and set up like an initial appointment? How do they get started?
Yeah, so typically they'll call, and if they're interested in hormones or medicated weight loss, thyroid optimization, basically any of our wellness caveat that we have, we typically say, okay, first thing, if you want to just come and talk and have a consult, we certainly can do that. If you are planning on potentially wanting to start it that day and get lab work, then we would recommend that you come fasting. So either we set them up for a consultation or we'll set them up for a consultation with fasting labs. So we typically start with the labs, and then after that, it takes about 3 to 4 days to get those back. So then we schedule them to come back in a week, and we have an hour-long lab review where Betsy or I are going over all of your labs, what's normal, what's not normal, what's suboptimal, because in traditional medicine, they don't go through that either. if you go in and say you have hypothyroidism, and they're going to check a TSH because that's what insurance is going to cover. If you're on medication, they're going to maybe check a T4 because insurance will cover that. They're probably not going to check a T3, which is actually the active thyroid hormone. So that's the one that makes you feel good. She's speaking a foreign
language now, isn't she?
Mm-hmm. TJCA, the T4s, the T3s.
Yeah. And so, I mean,
you do more.
Yes, we're just very comprehensive. And so I'm going to tell you, like, if you went to your traditional provider and they said, okay, we checked your TSH and it's normal. And you're like, okay, but why do I still not feel well? Mm-hmm. That's where
Which is very common.
Very common. Mm-hmm. You know, levothyroxine is the most overprescribed drug in the United States.
Oh, I'll say it again.
Levothyroxine, which is a thyroid medication,
is the most low active thyroid.
Yeah, is the most overprescribed drug in the United States.
Mm.
And I think that's why this industry, spa, wellness, all things are, and I said this on a previous episode, is kind of exploding, or you see a growth in it, I would say for sure, is because I do think people want to advocate for their health. Like they want to know what the full picture, and again, I'm not knocking traditional medicine, but you really do just go see your doctor and you're like, okay, I'm good. And you want to get to the root before there is problems and you have to treat some things from what I'm understanding.
Yeah. And we have, and don't get me wrong. I mean, like I came from traditional medicine, you know, I mean, that was my bread and butter.
Yeah.
But it's amazing like how much I didn't know.
You've learned more.
Correct. Being on my own because one, I have to, right? And then two, it's like, they didn't teach me that in school. Mm-hmm. All they taught me was, how do I treat this if it's red, meaning if it's outside the normal range? But they never taught me, how do I treat people if their labs are normal, but they still don't feel good?
Yeah.
And that just didn't sit well with me. You know, and actually the reason I started the wellness side of my things is because I had a patient come to me and she's like, I'm having all of these symptoms. And I'm like, writing down labs for her on a piece of paper. And I'm like, go take this to your doctor and have them run all of these. And she's like, okay. And she came back like a week or so later and I'm like, hey, how are you doing? Like, did they do your labs? What happened? And she's like, all they did was check a TSH and then they put me on this. And I'm like,
that's not what I said.
And that was my like aha moment that it's like, you know what?
We can do more.
I can do this.
You can provide an experience.
Like I can help you if someone else isn't going to.
Yeah.
And I don't want this to say like I'm knocking providers because I'm not.
There's just a place.
Your hands are tied with insurance companies is the truth of it, you know?
And what you're using to solve the problems. Because I heard you we were talking about this off mic, even with your machines. Like you're not going to get a machine just to get the machine. No. Like you basically were saying how I try out the machine. I'm not going to get it unless I have like clients that have good experience. And I think same with the wellness stuff. Like you're making sure the product and what they're using is.
Oh yeah. I generally, I'm researching things for 6 to 12 months before I bring them on.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the reality. So like my mom, my sister, my cousins, my aunt, like my staff, like it's all like, all right, who wants to be the guinea pig now?
Hubby?
Yeah. And my staff is probably super annoyed with me because they're like, oh my God, like, why do you keep adding stuff? Because I'm one of those people, I'm very type A. Once I master something, I'm like, okay, now what could I do? Because we can't address this yet. How could we do that?
Yeah.
You know, that's just, I'm never content. I don't know.
You can tell you're really passionate about this. That's very clear, which is great because again, there's spas are everywhere. You can go anywhere, but well, you said this earlier, people are reaching out to you. Like people all over the United States are asking like, how are you doing this? How are you growing this? I know you do training. Like you have people probably coming at you. Can I work for you? Can I get, so what's like the steps of like growing the business? And then like, now you have people coming to you for advice. Like, how is that full circle moment?
Well, it's weird because I'm like, am I qualified to answer this? You know, I think for a long time, it was really hard for me to like, I don't know, see my the
Imposter
value that
syndrome?
like to see the value that I bring to the table. And that really like that script really flipped for me when I went and trained in Switzerland in 2022. That was when I finally was like, okay, I'm literally the only provider in Iowa that's done this.
I know what I'm doing.
One of 50 people. Like I'm here for a reason. Like I'm doing this for a reason. I'm doing it the right way. I'm going about it the right way. Like I need to give myself a little credit here. And now it's like, I started training people again because when I got trained, it was take this 1-day course and open a med spa. Please do not ever do that. Please do not ever go to someone who does that because there's no way in 1 day you can learn all of these things. Well, you can't.
And you're changing people's faces. Like I want to go to someone that's passionate, smart. knowledgeable.
Yeah.
And has experience.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, and so, but that's what I tell my patients because, they're kind of leery sometimes, right? About seeing someone else because they've only had me. And I'm like, I've taught her everything. Like everything that I know, I teach my staff. The same high standard I have for myself, I have for my staff.
That's so important.
I spend thousands of dollars on training every single year. I'm in the middle of 3 classes right now.
You're pouring back into the business
You
and
have
the people in the business.
Yeah, you have to.
Because it's probably constantly changing,
It
just
is.
like a lot of businesses
Right.
are. It's constantly changing.
I can't imagine.
I mean, and there's always something new on them,
Yeah.
and it's like, okay, is this legitimate or is this just BS?
You have to,
Are they just trying to sell me another thing?
you have to surf through the
Yeah.
surf through the stuff.
Same like
oh,
products
that,
we
that is
sell.
one, yeah.
Right.
There's so many products we could
Oh,
sell.
yeah.
Like, and some of them are like, you're like, why would anyone ever put you in that product? And there's some that are really good. Same concept.
Right. It's like you have to get down to the nitty gritty and like, okay, in my world, it's like, let's look at the science of this. Does this even make sense?
And then see results.
Correct.
You want to see results, and we, going back
And you
to
said
ours,
that
it's the same thing.
your clients are your walking results.
They are.
Like,
I'm like, you're walking advertising for me.
yeah, like if you have a bad experience, someone's going to see that.
Absolutely. I mean, I turn people away all the time.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I want 5 syringes of filler in my face. I'm like, yeah, you're gonna have to go somewhere else. Sorry.
This is, yeah, you're not going to be walking around like that.
No, because
not
there's a
coming from us.
right and a wrong way to do things. And
You can hear it in your voice. You definitely have your standards. You know where you're going, and you definitely have your boundaries because it is one of those industries where you could just treat anyone with anything all the
that's
time
the
and make
problem.
the money.
That's what's happening is because people just see dollar signs,
Yes. It's-
And I literally had a lady say that to me. You don't want my money? And I said, no, because what
wanna
I
do
do,
the right thing.
you're not going to be happy with. She's coming in and pulling on her face. I said, look, nothing I do here is going to give you a surgical result. I have tons of surgeons that I can refer you to that I think would be better suited options for you.
And you want someone that's going to be honest. That's what you want of any business owner.
Correct. I mean, and my patients will tell you that, like, I come to you because I know you're not going to sell me something I don't need.
And I would appreciate that. So you're selling me. I'm like, boom, let's all go. So tell people where they can find you, social media, all the good stuff.
Okay. So we're located at 22 3rd Avenue Northwest in Pocahontas for now.
For now. And where is the new? It's just down the street.
It's literally down the street.
I went to your open house. It was amazing.
Thank you. So the street number essentially is going to change, or the house number, if you will.
Yeah.
Our Facebook is just MedSpa Express, and Instagram MedSpa Express JH, and then our website is medspaexpress.net.
And the links will be in our description.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
so look for them there.
And we do have an app too.
You do? Oh,
Yeah, because we have memberships.
and
so.
I was going to say, explain what a membership's like real quick for a listener. Someone that's like intrigued.
Yeah, so I tell people if you are coming to us for multiple things or wanting to come here routinely for things like Botox or something like that, the membership's a no-brainer. I am not discounting Sally and Susie who walk in off the street that want to come one time and never return, that are just price shopping. But what I will do is I will reward all my loyal clients that continue to come to me for things because I appreciate their business, right? So a membership is a beauty bank. You pay a fee per month. So we'll just start with the bronze. That's the lowest one. So it's $99 a month. You put that in your bank every month and you can use it on any services that you want in the building. You also get 3 free facials a year.
Oh, wow.
And you get $2 off per unit of neurotoxin or Botox.
Molly's Christmas present.
Yeah, maybe.
Let's go. Well, we appreciate your time because I know you got a lot going on. You're running a business, you're running 2 kids, and you're about to run a 3rd one.
Yep.
So good luck
Yes,
with
thank
all of
you.
that.
Thank you very much for your time. We do appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Once you start caring about people's opinions of you, you give up control. Ronda Rousey.
Go Cubs.
You've been listening to How to Money with Cole & Cole, the podcast of Full Swing Financial Planning. To learn more, visit their website at www.fullswingfinancial.com and follow them on Facebook and LinkedIn.
For now, I'm Cole,
I'm Bailey.
And I'm Cole.
and we'll see you on the greens. 4.
Security and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC.